On the Cowboys Beat, I'm visiting now with Jeff Cavanaugh, 105 through the Fan and the Athletic DFW. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Ari, and I hope you find a way to put video of our conversation up because my hair is looking good.
It's looking spectacularly good.
Mm-hmm.
No straw hat today, though.
No, I don't know where it went.
Did your girlfriend hide it from you?
No, I lost her visor, too. She's mad. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Life moves
We'll
on.
find. If we don't find that, we'll find something else. It'll be great.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Cowboys are closer to 12-4 or 9-7?
Oh, wow. What a great question. Because if you asked me to pick an over-under for the Cowboys, I'd say, well, I'd say 10. So 9-7. I'll go 9-7. Yeah. I feel good about that. Yeah. Because 10 and a half, I think, should be their over-under. And I think it's under that. So, yeah, I'll say closer to 9-7, but that's not terrible. They're good. They're good at sports.
But, I mean, I suppose that 10 wins should get you into the playoffs, right?
Oh, for sure. I think it should.
Will 10 wins be enough to save Jason Garrett's job?
I hope not, but I'm sure it would be. Yeah. Well, Jerry Jones doesn't want to fire his kids, does he? Jerry Jr.'s not going anywhere. Steven's not going anywhere. Why would Jason? All the kids get to keep their jobs. I don't think he wants to fire them. Part of me wants them to go 7-9 so he gets canned, but I don't see it happening.
Do you think it's that simple? If they don't make the playoffs, he's out. If they make the playoffs, he stays?
I do. I get it when people disagree. Like on our show, my buddy Mike Bassick, former big leaguer and one of the smartest sports guys I know, he doesn't think Jason's on the hot seat because Jerry's comfortable. Jason can deal with Jerry. Everybody's just comfy, cozy. But I think Jerry is affected enough by public opinion that right now Jason has a thumbs down. It's got to be from over 50%. And if they don't have a good year, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on the radio. It's going to be in the papers. It's going to be everywhere that the guy needs to lose his job. And you hate to see somebody cave to public opinion, but I think Jerry's swayed by it. He cares about TV ratings. He cares about money. And if everybody is calling for something else to happen, that becomes a positive if it happens. And I think Jerry will do it.
Why don't you like Jason Garrett as a head coach?
People or me?
You.
I think Jason Garrett's an okay head coach.
Average.
I think he's okay. Yes, I think he's an average head coach. I like Jason Garrett as a guy being in charge of my team. I like him being in charge of motivating people and coming up with a plan. I like that. I don't like Jason Garrett while the game's going on. And I haven't seen it change. And I think that's where the biggest advantage is to be had in football, is after the first drive, after the first quarter, after the first half. All right, things got to change. Oh, my God, I lost my left tackle. Now what? I think he's in the lower half, if not the lower quarter of the league when it comes to adjusting and being able to make decisions on the fly. My buddy Gavin Dawson says there's two types of people, and I buy this. You have map makers and you have test takers. Jason Garrett's a map maker. He can make a great map. All right, great. Now, when you're out there sailing and the sharks attack, Jason Garrett's sitting there like, oh, man, I didn't plan for this. Now what? And other people aren't like that. I don't think he's good during football games.
That seems like a fatal flaw of the head coach.
Doesn't it? I mean, unless you don't have to make a bunch of decisions over the course of a football game. If you said, hey, Scott, whatever's happening on offense is you, whatever's happening on defense is Rod. If I want to run the ball on 3rd and 1, I'll tell you we're running the ball. But other than that, I'm just going to hang out. Then maybe. But I'm clock management, adjusting. What happens if you lose a couple of your best players?
Yep.
I get it. Like, so you say, well, he lost Tyron Smith and Ezekiel Elliott. How are you supposed to win? Well, and Sean Lee. I don't know. The Eagles lost their left tackle, their starting middle linebacker. Just go down the list, and they won.
Oh, and by the way, you knew Zeke was going to miss time all year, even before the season started. It wasn't like he got injured and it happened to them. It was something they could have been planning for all year.
You might should have known it before you drafted him, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I talked to Ohio State beat writers at the Combine, and I had a pretty good feeling that Zeke's a little bit of a risk. I talked to 2 people. They did more homework than that. The Chaz Green thing was so awful. That was so awful. The fact that there's not either a tight end on that side or a running back chipping on every single play is incredible to me. And Derek Dooley's on the sideline telling his wide receivers, listen, we can't block. There's nothing you guys can do about it, but we can't block. And no one else was like, hey, let's try to help our left tackle. Guys keep running around him. This isn't good for football. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Well, it's even more like the thing is, like, good coaches diagnose problems before they become apparent. Every fan who may know nothing about football was like, why is Chaz Green still at left tackle? Why are you not helping him? Why haven't you changed? It took, what was it, 3 quarters in that Falcons game for him to go to somebody else?
Yeah, and somebody else got smoked too, and they didn't help him either. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was Adrian Claiborne is about as average as it gets as an NFL player. And a 6-sack game, holy cow, what a gift. That's incredible.
So, talent-wise, though, you think the Cowboys are pretty good?
Yeah, I think they are above league average, talent-wise, for whatever that's worth.
That's the 10 wins? That's the 10 wins, you think?
Yeah, I think the 10 wins comes from they do things a different way than the rest of the league, and I think that works. I think going against the grain works in pro sports. You know, everybody else is passing the ball 60-something% of the time, and the Cowboys are going to run it 50-50, and we're going to invest in all the offensive line to do it. We're going to be the most efficient offense in football. Sure, that works, as long as you don't lose anybody. When you lose somebody, what happens? Most teams find a way to survive. This team doesn't. Thanks, Coach.
What's their biggest hole aside from Coach?
Let me see. Wide receiver's a hole, but I don't think it's fatal or anything. I think it's fine. I want to see them play is the thing, because right now, one of the flaws that worries me is the wide receiver core, and it's not because of the players, it's because of the coaches again.
Yeah.
It's because what are you going to do to get average players open? I love Michael Gallup. I think he's going to be a player in the league. I think he'll be their best receiver by the end of the year. But what are you going to do to help him? Because right now what you do to help them is you tell them to execute. That's what you do. And that's bizarre to me. I want Lincoln Riley coaching my football team. I want you to find the dude who runs college stuff and is the best at it and come run it. It's like, oh, Baker Mayfield, you don't want to pick him. He makes easy throws. All right, give me the dude who made it easy. I want that dude.
It's like
Jason Garrett makes the stuff hard, doesn't he? So, like they get Tavon Austin, right? So they have Tavon Austin now, who's been whatever. If he wasn't a 9th overall pick, maybe he'd be a more intriguing player to people.
Yeah.
But, you're talking about things that are creative with a coaching staff that I've never seen anything creative from. So it's like, I want to see them play, because if they do what they're talking about doing, then I think offensively you can get by with those receivers. Your line is great. Your running back's great. Your quarterback's solid. That's good. So where are your holes? I actually like what they have at corner. I'm okay with what they have at safety because I like Xavier Woods, and I'd love to see him start. I want to see it. And then at strong safety, you're okay, but it's strong safety, right? Linebacker, we'll see. There's a lot of pressure on Leighton Vander Esch or the braceless Jalen Smith. Defensive line is pretty darn stout. You don't really have a nose tackle. So, when you go through it step by step, I think you draw up something that's pretty darn optimistic. I don't think they have a massive weakness. You don't have a great receiver. Okay. You don't have a great safety. Okay. And your nose tackle's not very good. Okay. That sounds pretty good. That sounds like a pretty good team.
You think Terrell McClain was a money thing?
Yeah. I wanted him back because Terrell McClain was the first guy that made me realize that Pro Football Focus is grading. You can't really trust it because I have no idea who's grading it or based on what. And they obviously don't know what you're calling. But Terrell McClain, when he was healthy and he was here as a starting nose tackle, he was good. He was good. Scale of 1 to 100, he was 75 to 80. And they had him at a 46. And I was like, okay, so they're not watching or they just don't know his name or something. But, but this team is never going to win a bidding war. They would have needed the rest of the league to kind of be like, yeah, whatever, Terrell McClain. But Atlanta saw him, and they said, no, that dude can play in a 4-3. And they paid him. And that sucks. Our team doesn't get to pay people. Next year, we'll get to pay people if we want. We'll get to.
Why?
It'll be awful.
Oh, because Romo's
money will be gone.
Yeah.
Romo money will be gone. Nolan Carroll money's gone. Yada, yada, yada. If you want, you could be free of Tyrone Crawford. Witten money's gone. You got money next year. You got money. But for now, they can't.
Why do you think Des Bryant hasn't been signed yet?
I think, I talked about this today. Here's my theory. Des Bryant, the football player, on his own would be signed by now. I think he's still got it. I think he's still got the juice. I mean, maybe he's not 1,300 yards and 12
Right.
touchdowns.
But still pretty
I think
good.
Des Bryant, if he's a starting wide receiver and he gets 100 and some odd targets, I think he's still a 1,000-yard player. I think he can still play. I think what you get to see on like the all or nothing and like Des Bryant takes maintenance. That's factual. I'm a Des Bryant fan. I love him to death. I think he's a good teammate, and I think he wants to be a perfect teammate. But he's not an emotionally mature person at this point in his life, and he tries. He's trying. That's why I love him, because intent matters. He's trying. But I think in those moments, and those moments happen a lot, he can't stop himself. So he requires maintenance, whether it's during practice, whether it's during meetings, yada, yada, yada. And for the Cowboys, at his salary figure and production level and non-connection with quarterback, that maintenance no longer made sense. It's like, no, it's not worth it for us. So for another team at unknown salary figure, is Des Bryant worth it? Can he start in the league and be productive? Hell yes. But I think you look at who he is and the maintenance it requires, and if you're not bringing him in to be your number one receiver, aren't you a little worried about it? Like Des Bryant has to be engaged from the word go, or he's going to drop the ball. He's going to run inconsistent routes. Effort's going to go up and down. So if he's my second or third option that I'm just bringing in for $6 million, do I trust that? Do I trust that he's going to show up and he's going to be a great teammate? He's going to ball and he's not going to be a distraction. If he gets 70 targets, I think that becomes tough. I don't know how many people are going to vouch for him if he's not going to be the guy. So he's in a real weird spot. I hope he ends up in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers just feeds him. That's my dream.
Except that it seems like it has horrible Cowboys ending written all over it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I like Dez. I like Dez. They did my guy dirty. They didn't release him at the beginning of the offseason. They did my guy dirty. So, yeah, I want to see him go ball.
All right, so over under 10.5 wins then.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Under. I'll say 10. I'll guess 10. I don't have a hot take for you, though, because I think one of those two numbers is the number, 10 or 11. So I'll take under, but I feel pretty good either way. They got a pretty tough schedule, and the division's not easy. Philly's tough. New York's kind of tough. Washington sucks. So, yeah, I think 10 is the number. I'll go 10.
Yeah, if Zeke Elliott plays in 16 games, they'll win 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Well, no, I'll change that. I need Tyron, too. Or a new coaching staff. Well, maybe Cam Fleming might not be an abortion if Tyron goes down. So maybe you're okay. Maybe you'll be okay.
He just needs to be a better swing tackle than Chaz Green.
Well, being better than the worst swing tackle of all time, it shouldn't be too hard. Has there ever been a swing tackle that when he had to go in the game just gave up 6 sacks? Maybe he gave up 4 or 5 of them. But either way, has there ever been a swing tackle that just walked in and immediately gave up every sack?
It was unlike anything I've ever seen before. All right, what was like your biggest takeaway from All or Nothing?
The Garret stuff wasn't a big takeaway for me because I feel like I knew it. Like that Jason Garrett's not a robot. I knew that. But it was still a little bit of a surprise, the level of accountability and directness that he would put on some people. Probably my biggest takeaway was that the Cowboys head coaching job kind of sucks. Think about this. So your game happens, and then on Monday or Tuesday, whenever you have your meeting, and it should be the head coach and then all of his subordinates who he can be like, all right, here's where we screwed up, here's where we got to get better. Instead, it's the head coach with his bosses sitting there who want to like play football still. I think Jerry wants to play left guard or something. So instead, you have to appease them before you can get to work. And after the game, if I want to rip your ass because we were awful, well, hopefully the owner doesn't want to talk first and send a different message. Because if he does, well, crap, sorry. So now my message is next. And he just told you, keep your head up and I love you. And now he's going to stand here. And I was going to rip you, but now what am I going to do? I'm clearly not in charge of this. I'm not the authority on this team. So it's like that job is not awesome. And that's why Jason Garrett has it. Who wants it? Who wants to deal with that? That's impossible. You're not the leader. You can't be. It's not me. It's him. It's Jerry. Whatever Jerry wants to say. He's in my meetings. He gets to talk to you guys before me. Like, that's impossible. It's an impossible freaking job.
Jeff Cavanaugh, 105 through the fan, and the Athletic DFW. Follow him on Twitter at JC1053. Thanks, brother.
All right, I love you.
Love you too.